Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to imagine a single moment in your life, the kind of moment that feels so small, so ordinary, that you barely notice it while it's happening. A phone call you decide to answer, a stranger you decide to smile at, a door you decide to hold open, a word of kindness you decide to speak. At the time, it feels like nothing. Just another moment in another day. But sometimes, what we don't realize is that this single choice, this one decision, has the power to alter the course of our entire lives. Let me take you into a story. It begins not with a millionaire, not with a celebrity, but with a young man named Daniel. Daniel was an ordinary college student in the United States. He carried the same weight many of us carry: worry about the future, student loans, the pressure of making something of himself. He often felt invisible, overlooked in a world that seemed too busy, too fast, and too consumed with itself. One cold winter afternoon, Daniel was walking home from class. His backpack was heavy, his mind even heavier. He was frustrated about failing a test and silently rehearsing excuses he would give his parents. On his way, he passed an old man sitting on the sidewalk near a diner. The man looked tired, shivering slightly in the wind, a small cardboard sign resting against his knees. The sign read, "Hungry. Anything helps." Now, here's the moment, the choice. Daniel could have kept walking. After all, he barely had money himself. His wallet contained just a $5 bill, the last of his cash until his next paycheck. He could have justified walking past, telling himself it wasn't his responsibility. He could have chosen convenience. He could have chosen indifference. And maybe no one would have blamed him. But something in his heart whispered otherwise. For reasons he couldn't explain, Daniel stopped. He took out that last $5 and handed it to the man. "Sir," Daniel said softly, "it's not much, but I hope it helps you get something warm to eat." The old man's eyes welled up. He looked at Daniel, truly looked at him, as if no one had seen him for a long, long time. He whispered back, "Thank you. You have no idea what this means." Daniel smiled, gave a nod, and walked away. He didn't think much more of it. After all, it was only $5, right? But here's where life surprises us. 2 weeks later, Daniel went to a career networking event hosted by his university. Nervously, he introduced himself to different professionals, shaking hands, exchanging small talk, feeling once again invisible in a sea of ambitious students. At one point, he sat down at a table where a guest speaker was having coffee. The man looked familiar, though Daniel couldn't quite place him. The man extended his hand. "Good to meet you. I'm Richard." Daniel introduced himself, and they began to talk. Richard asked Daniel about his dreams, his struggles, his ambitions. There was something unusually kind about the way Richard listened, not rushing, not distracted, just fully present. After nearly half an hour of talking, Richard leaned back and said, "You may not remember me, but I remember you." Daniel frowned in confusion. Richard smiled gently and said, "2 weeks ago, outside a diner downtown, you gave me $5. I was sitting on the sidewalk." Daniel's eyes widened. "That was you?" Richard nodded. "I had been going through one of the hardest seasons of my life. I had just lost everything, my company, my home, even my family had drifted away. I was sitting there that day not just hungry, but hopeless. I thought the world had forgotten me. And then you came along. You didn't know me. You didn't owe me anything. But you gave. You reminded me that I wasn't invisible. That I still mattered." Tears filled Daniel's eyes. He was speechless. Richard continued, "That moment gave me the courage to try again. I reached out to an old business partner the very next day. We rebuilt from scratch. And now I'm here, not just as a guest speaker, but as someone looking for young people like you to mentor and invest in. Daniel, if you're interested, I want to offer you an internship. That one choice, $5, one act of kindness, changed Daniel's life forever. Now, pause for a moment and think about that. What if Daniel had walked past? What if he had chosen indifference? His entire future might have unfolded differently. He might never have met Richard, never gotten that opportunity, never discovered the ripple effect of one small act of compassion. My friends, this is the heart of what I want you to remember today. Sometimes the most life-changing decisions are not the big, dramatic ones, but the small, quiet choices we make when no one is watching. We live in a world where people tell us success is about chasing big things. Big money, big houses, big titles. But in truth, the greatest changes in our lives often come from the smallest acts of love, kindness, and courage. Think about it. One smile can lift someone out of despair. One word of encouragement can stop someone from giving up. One phone call to a lonely parent can heal years of silent distance. One act of forgiveness can mend a broken relationship. One bold yes to an opportunity, even when you're scared, can open a door you never thought possible. And here's what's even more powerful: when you make that one choice, it doesn't just change your life, it changes the lives of everyone connected to you. Kindness is contagious. Compassion is exponential. One choice sends ripples into the world far beyond what you can see. But let me share another truth: sometimes the choice that changes everything is not easy. It might mean forgiving someone who hurt you deeply. It might mean walking away from comfort to pursue purpose. It might mean standing up for someone who has no voice. It might mean sacrificing something valuable for the sake of love. And yes, it might mean taking a leap of faith when you are terrified of falling. The beauty is this: those hard choices are the ones that define us. They shape our character, our destiny, our legacy. Let me tell you about Sarah. She was a single mother working 2 jobs just to make ends meet. She barely slept, barely had time for herself, and often felt overwhelmed by exhaustion. One evening, while rushing home after her late shift, she saw a flyer at her local community center about volunteering at a shelter for homeless youth. For a moment, she thought, I don't have the time. I don't have the energy. Someone else will do it. But then, she thought again. What if this is the choice that could matter? Despite her exhaustion, Sarah signed up. She started spending just a few hours a week at the shelter, talking with the kids, listening to their stories, encouraging them to keep believing in themselves. Months later, one of those young people came up to her with tears in his eyes. Because of you, he said, I decided not to give up on school. I decided my life was worth more than the streets. That choice, though it cost Sarah her time and comfort, changed that boy's entire future. And do you know what happened next? Years later, that boy grew up, earned a scholarship, and eventually started a non-profit organization to help other kids just like him. And when he was asked what inspired him, he said, it was a tired single mother who chose to care about me when she didn't have to. One choice changed her life. One choice changed his. One choice changed hundreds more. And maybe, as you're listening to me right now, you're thinking about your own life. Maybe you're standing at a crossroads. Maybe you're wrestling with a decision, whether to chase a dream, forgive someone, speak up, take a risk, or extend kindness when it's easier to stay silent. Let me tell you this: your choice matters more than you realize. In the United States, in small towns and big cities alike, history has been written not just by the bold strokes of presidents and leaders, but by ordinary people who made extraordinary choices. A teacher who refused to give up on a struggling student. A neighbor who opened their door to a family in need. A nurse who worked through exhaustion to care for one more patient. Heroes are not born in grand moments, they are born in small choices, made day after day, out of love and courage. And so, here is my challenge to you: what choice will you make today? Will you choose bitterness, or forgiveness? Selfishness, or generosity? Fear, or courage? Indifference, or compassion? Because one choice can set off a chain reaction you cannot yet imagine. One choice can save a life. One choice can change your story. Friends, when Daniel handed over that $5 bill, he thought he was giving away the last of what he had. But in truth, he was investing in his future, in humanity, in hope. And what came back to him was far greater than anything money could buy. When Sarah gave up her time to volunteer, she thought she was pouring out of an empty cup. But what she received in return was purpose, fulfillment, and the knowledge that her life had created a ripple of transformation. And when you choose love over hate, kindness over cruelty, courage over fear, you plant seeds that may grow into forests you will never live to see. But others will walk in their shade. So today, let us decide together. Let us make that one choice. A choice to see people. A choice to lift others up. A choice to live with courage and compassion. Because one choice can change everything. Not tomorrow. Not someday. But today. Right here. Right now. Thank you.